What is up, everybody? Welcome to the second feature premiere for MLB The Show 23. Today we cover gameplay. That's right, baby. Super excited to cover this. This is going to be a fun one. We got a lot of good content in the feature premiere stream today, and I cannot wait to give y'all my opinions. I haven't looked at Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, nothing. I haven't looked at any content. Just talked to one other content creator, just on a couple items that we saw there. So I'm very excited to put this out, and you're going to get my honest opinion because I haven't looked at any social media. So let's go get into it right now. All right, guys. So I'm going to try to go through these pretty quickly. It's not a whole lot of information, but I don't want the video to be super long either. So the very first thing that we got was fielding. So of course they did their typical, we got more animation. So there's more diving animations. There's more rob foul animations are some examples they gave us. So different things that they gave us every year, they just kind of build off of. However, they did emphasize your reaction. For instance, in the outfield, a ball hit into right center, your right fielder may have a slower reaction. That first step is going to be different for every player, and that is going to be based on their fielding attribute. So they're making the attributes play into the game a little bit more. So very, very interested, and there's more on the fielding attributes later on. So we'll get into that as well. With something that has to do with fielding. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out with the fielding stuff. So let's go get into the next. So the next thing that they released with fielding is actually for anybody using button accuracy or analog fielding are going to see a difference with the throw accuracy meter, which I'm pretty excited for and not excited for at the same time because I'm going to suck at it. And here's why. So the harder the play, so if you make a running ground ball fielding with the second baseman, and he's got to turn and throw the ball, instead of the meter always being static in the middle, it's going to move based on the difficulty of the play, which is very interesting. Same thing if you're in the outfield making a running catch and you turn to throw it in, that meter moves. So the green space not being in the middle, it'll be over to the right. That's new. So that'll be a little bit harder to do. That being said, the throwing meter does have like a green, yellow, and red for force outs to first base now. And if you get it in the yellow, if it's green, you're probably good. If it's in the yellow section, and I'll show a graphic on the screen. If it's in the yellow section, the play being made, it relies solely on the first baseman's fielding, which is very, very interesting. So some first baseman fielding is going to come into play. A lot of times, when you're setting your lineup, you pick your first baseman. You're like, it's just first base, fielding doesn't matter. Well, that's not the case this year. Very excited for this. This is very, very, very cool to see. So I can't wait to try that out in the tech test tomorrow, which SDS forced down our throat all day today with this stream. So don't forget tech test tomorrow at about 10 a.m. Eastern time. So excited. All right, so guys, I'm going to touch on this next piece really, really quickly. Even SDS didn't really focus a whole lot on these. But we have new quirks in the game. I'll have a graphic up on the screen. As you can see, there's 4 new quirks. Those quirks are going to be pickoff artist, table setter, break outlier, and bad ball hitter. Descriptions of each one. So basically, pickoff artist is exactly how it sounds. He's just going to be better at picking players off. Break outlier, pitcher loses less break when tired. That'll come in handy, especially with something else that I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but that's going to come in handy, and you'll see why in a little bit. Table setter performs better when no runners are on the bases. So That's a good one to have as well early on in the game. Starters with that are going to be really nice to have. And then bad ball hitters excels at hitting pitches outside of the strike zone. If you're like me and you swing at everything in the strike zone, or everything out of the strike zone, then that'll be handy also in our next segment here. When we talk about what hitting changes have been made, you'll see where this is going to come in handy as a perk that we might want to start looking at to have in 23. I'm sorry, a quirk, not a perk. So another thing they mentioned was some changes with the clutch attribute, and you're gonna have to forgive me on this one. I was driving while I was listening to the stream, so I couldn't really grasp 100% what they were saying, but it sounds like pitching clutch and hitting clutch are gonna play a bigger factor in the game. So in those clutch moments, we will have some new attributes playing a factor in some of those big instances in the games that we have. So, all right, guys. So the moment we've kind of all been waiting for ever since we started talking and started getting information about MLB, the show 23, is what changes are going to be made to hitting. And guys, I have to say they did not disappoint me. I like what I'm seeing. I think there's some good stuff here. So the one, we'll call it two things that they said that we're going to get less of is foul balls on balls with poor timing, or balls that are way out of the strike zone. The batter has no business fouling at all. We're going to see less foul balls in those instances. In the same instances on poor timing and stuff like that, little cheap hits, little bloop hits into the outfield that just squeak over your infielders, we're going to see less of that. Now that comes from 50% less vision. So if you know your PCI, you have an inner PCI and an outer PCI. The outer PCI is your vision. That's been cut 50%. So what we're used to, cut it in half. So essentially, we should see much less foul tips and balls in the dirt that are getting fouled off somehow. We're not going to see a whole lot of that. Keep in mind, these changes were primarily made in competitive. So you have different play styles, from casual, simulation, and competitive. Most of these changes are going to be, I don't want to say exaggerated, but they're going to be primarily seen in competitive mode, which I play in. I think most people that I know play in. So very excited for that. So the hitting has changed. The PCI does look a little bit different as well, like I mentioned. So yeah, very excited that there are some changes made to hitting. I don't think we're going to see any real changes until we get only on next gen systems and they can build the hitting in one engine and not have to make it portable over to the Switch or portable over to the old gen systems. The PlayStation 5 can do things that the Switch is never going to be able to do. The Xbox Series X is going to be doing things that the Xbox One isn't doing. So they have to make it compatible across all systems, and that's why I don't think we're going to get a very big hitting change until then. But I think this helps. I think we're going to see less of that, hits that shouldn't be hits, essentially. They did also emphasize that in competitive mode specifically, balls that are hit perfect, or just a well-hit ball are going to have better results than they did in 22. And obviously better results than they would have if they weren't a good hit. So curious to see how that's going to play out. And I think they're going to have to twerk it a little bit, because I don't think it's going to be perfect right out the gate. So I'm not holding my breath, but I do like that we're getting some hitting addressed and they're not just saying it's working as intended. I think SDS is doing the best they can to give us the content that we want and the game that we want. It's good to see that they are addressing the hitting. All right, guys. So the very last thing that I want to cover, I'm just going to run through these pretty quickly. We got some rule changes. So MLB had some rule changes with the shift. Those are coming into MLB The Show. They are going to meet basically the MLB standard for shifts. which is only 4 infielders in the infield, and you have to have 2 on either side of second base. So there's that. We'll get full two-way players. So for instance, Shohei Ohtani, you can put him in as a pitcher, you can put him in as a DH, or you can put him in as an outfielder, all in the same. So basically pitchers have secondary positions now. So that was something that we couldn't do in 22. You either had to have his card that was an outfielder or his card that was a pitcher. Now you could have him as a pitcher and still leave him in to hit, but now he can actually play a position without having to be a pitcher. So really cool. And you mentioned it, or I'm sorry, I mentioned it a little too soon. We do have Universal DH in MLB The Show 23. I'm very, very excited for this. Although I hope they made a pitching stamina change, because with the Universal DH rule, and the way I see it is there's no reason to pull your pitcher out of the game now. So if you have the 99 Randy Johnson and he doesn't come up to bat, so you're never being told, hey, you might want to pull your pitcher. People are never going to pull their pitcher. So I'm hoping they made a change to stamina where when your stamina starts running low, you start getting penalized for it, as far as bad pitches and stuff like that. So, or we'll see what they do with it, but I'm hoping that plays a factor in it. And then the last bit, probably the piece that a lot of people are most excited about, is co-op mode. Co-op mode is now ranked. As you can see on the screen, we have a ranked co-op mode, and here is what it looks like. It looks like just the ranked season program, the ranked season outline here, but this is ranked co-op. So it's basically ranked seasons, but with co-op. So guys, if y'all want to play some co-op with me, you know where to find me. You can find me here. You can find me on Twitch. Hit me up on Twitter. I don't care what you do. I'm looking forward to this a lot. And with ranked co-op comes ranked co-op rewards. So I'm very excited to see what kind of rewards we get in here. And I'm hoping to see maybe some new cards put into these that we could definitely use. Along with co-op, the one thing that a lot of people were looking for was co-op friendlies. I think ranked co-op is the first step in that direction. But it'll be interesting to see kind of how that plays out. So yeah, ranked co-op, that's freaking sweet. Very excited for that. All right, guys. Well, that is gonna wrap us up. Very exciting feature premiere 2. We talked building, we talked hitting, we talked new co-op, we talked some new rules that are being implemented into the game, some new looks to things that we've already had in the game. Very, very excited for this, guys. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that fat thumbs up button. Drop me a little subscribe as well. I really appreciate it, guys. It means a lot. And if you like this content, want to see more of it, let me know down below. What did SDS miss? What did you want to see that wasn't covered? And let's talk about it, guys. If you want to catch me live, I'm live on Twitch Monday through Thursday. I'm sorry, Thursday through Sunday on Twitch. Go check me out, guys. I really appreciate y'all. Love y'all, and we'll see y'all on the next video.